You don't have to be able to read music to be a great bass player. In fact, many of my favourites can't read music. But the ability to do so definitely does open up lots of new musical doors, including being able to play in all the different situations where reading music is required, and also self-study, teaching yourself lots of cool new things. I learnt loads from this book. I highly recommend it. It's actually not that hard to read music, and this little series of videos will take you through all the basics you'll need to get you started. The first thing is how to identify notes on the bass, and if you don't know how to do that, go back to the fretboard knowledge section and look at the video how to find notes on the bass. Then we'll look at identifying the names of the notes on the music, how to find those notes on the bass, and then the rhythms and rests. Now, if you take any of those things on its own, it's actually not that difficult, but putting them all together is the tricky part. So rewind these videos as many times as you need to until you understand all these little concepts. Musical notes are written on a stave or staff which comprise 5 lines and 4 spaces. The symbol to the left is called a bass clef, otherwise known as an F clef, because an old copperplate F used to be written a little like that. In fact, those 2 dots that you see intersect the line where the note F is found, so that's quite a handy way of at least learning that note. These lines going downwards separate what we call bars in the UK or measures in the US. It means exactly the same thing. A handy way to memorise the names of the notes on the lines and spaces are these 2 mnemonics. For the lines, good boys deserve football always, and the spaces, all cows eat grass. Now, lining up these notes together, you'll see that from the G to the A, all it does is just go up the musical alphabet, which if you didn't know, it just goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there's no letter after that. It just goes back to A again. So alternating between a line and a space, you're just going up the musical alphabet this way and down the musical alphabet in the other way. Now, when I say up, I mean up in pitch, so the notes get higher, and if I say down, that's down in pitch. I think a great place to start is to work out these notes here. Now, these are the open strings. You have your E, A, D, and G strings. And if you can have an anchoring point of where you find those on the musical staff, then you're in a great place, okay? So here is an E, here's an A, here's a D, and here's a G. I would say learn those first. Reading music is about familiarising yourself with all these different components. So once you've learnt those open strings, we can learn a few more notes. Here is the E string, and then we have F after E. This is all we're doing. We're just going up the alphabet, the musical one. So we have an E, then we have an F on the 1st fret, G on the 3rd fret, then we move to that open string A, which we learnt before, then B 2nd fret, C 3rd fret, D open string, E, F 2nd and 3rd frets of the D string. You remember how a B and a C and an E and an F were a semitone apart, which on a bass guitar is just simply 1 fret distance. After the F, we have an open string G, we have an A on the 2nd fret, and a B on the 4th fret. Now, it's really, really important to learn those notes. Here's a fretboard diagram, and you can see how anytime you see an E to an F or a B to a C, there's no gap in between them. And every other note, such as that A to the B that we just played, has a gap. And that gap is the sharp and the flat, which you must learn. So you know your notes well. You can identify notes on the stave well because you have your mnemonics for the lines and the space. Good boys deserve football always, all cows eat grass. And then you now also know that going from a line to a space, you're just going up or down the alphabet. That should mean that you know a few notes now on the musical staff. So you know the names of the notes, you know where they are on the bass, all good. But the next thing we need is how to work out these funny symbols, rhythms and rests.